fanny pack, everybody.
It's time.
It's time.
I do have a fanny pack. Everybody.
And we're
Yeah,
back.
you still got your Crocs are at my house.
Oh, I like Crocs. We're
Yeah,
back,
I'm
guys,
actually gonna
with
pee on them as
episode
they're in the corner.
38 of Almost Patriots. We're here a day
fucking go.
early. Yeah. Everyone's been traveling. Lots of good stuff been going on in the middle of summer. Summer's almost over. So we got it going on this Wednesday at 7 p.m. So thanks for tuning in, guys. You always catch us in our recorded videos on YouTube. And check out our reels on YouTube and Instagram and X. Anyways, guys, we were just discussing our, loose bowel syndrome that sometimes we have, and fanny packs.
You have issues.
Old people syndrome.
And the
We
Indy
do have some
500
issues.
and Woodford Reserve. Yeah, that bourbon
That
started
shit
off
hit
the day
spot.
pretty
oh my
bad.
God. It was awesome.
God, that was amazing. And
Well, that was
then
after
afterwards-
mimosas in the car. And mimosas and Jess's like casserole.
Yeah, that's right.
Dude, that shit was dope.
Do you remember the traffic?
I do. I was
like,
driving.
Me and Ricardo.
Well, you guys were
walked-
walking around.
We were
doing
like,
your
"Fuck
fucking-
this." We were walking out,
Yeah.
and thank God I decided to get walk out because Ricardo was like, "All right, I think the parking lot's this way." We walked all the way to the parking lot. Like, no, you're not parking.
Yeah, we
over
had no
there."
idea where we were going.
I
What was your favorite
got
part of the day? You think?
the whole day?
We're talking about the Indy 500, guys. Our latest.
I mean, I thought the whole day was great just because everybody was there. I mean, because like I had a full house full of people and we're all hanging out. And I mean, we could have been, I don't know, playing dominoes or something. It would have been, I thought it was fun.
yeah,
Obviously,
I'll tell you, my favorite part of the entire day is when you were spinning and Ricardo sitting back there making out with that blonde.
I did not make
and
out with her. I did not make out
And
with
he's literally chugging the vodka.
Steve.
oh yeah,
out
he
of the
was
bottle.
chugging the vodka out of the bottle.
And
yeah,
we
that
got
was pretty
nervous.
funny.
We were like, "Oh
Uh-oh.
no, he's gonna be fucked up." And
Yeah,
then
like, he's
all of a
spinning
sudden he
next,
was walking
man.
around perfectly fine.
her. Right,
you
it's just
know.
a Tuesday in San Diego, guys. Just a Tuesday in San Diego.
And no, wait, the best statement he made was, "Oh, this is just normal for me. I'm fine. Don't worry about me."
Yeah,
He was
I
like,
can
do
handle
this
it.
every day. I can handle it.
I loved the concert, but I really liked like the part before the race, like before the race starts, when like the whole fucking 400,000 people are all paying attention to the speaker and they're talking about the military and they're talking about the history of the race and like everyone's just in unison, and it's all a positive thing. I thought that was pretty powerful. I missed that last year. This year I really felt it. That was like really dope. It's just so many people, 400,000 people, everyone kind of doing the same thing. It's kind of a powerful thing, but I like that. That was kind of cool.
In all honesty, I think my favorite part was just the boys. We were hanging out in the VIP area, like listening to music, dancing, just going crazy. That was my favorite part because it was like, the music was great, but it was just a good crew of people hanging out and fucking around and joking until your boy's wife showed up. But it was a great time. I had a blast.
That's pretty funny.
She was not happy.
She wasn't happy at all. She wasn't happy at all.
I mean, I didn't mind the traffic, just, hanging out with all the friends. And I mean, obviously the concert was great. I didn't like the music was better last year, I thought.
I agree. Yep.
You said you didn't mind the traffic?
Nah, I mean, I liked, I mean, like, we're all
I minded
drinking
it.
and Jess
I
brought
hated
the
it.
casserole and we're
I'm-
hanging out. And like, I mean, I guess I live by myself, so I'm a lonely human being.
That was the
It's
first
all
one out of the car. I was like, bam. Let me get some
Ricardo
coffee.
went and got a coffee, and then I was like, "Yo, I can't sit in here anymore. My stomach is bothering me." He was like, "Okay, let's go for a walk." And I found a Shell station, and they were like, "No, you can't use the bathroom indoors. You have to go use the porta potty outside." I walked in for 2 seconds, and the porta potty was like overflowing. I was like, "Nope." And we walked across to the Exxon station. And then I was in there for about 20 minutes, and people were banging on the door, like, "Are you alive in there?" I was like, "Shut the fuck up!"
I'm doing drugs. Get out of my way. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I had to pee in like 2 people's yards on the way. Yeah.
It was fun, though. Either way, always a good time. If you guys haven't had a chance to make it out to the Indy 500, it is a great party and an awesome race every Memorial Day weekend. We'll be there next year as well with some more fun stuff going on. So, Mike, let's talk about this topic because this is kind of unusual for you. So what I'm assuming is that, now that you're out of Guantanamo and you're into rehabilitation with normal society, that you're being a lot more positive. And I feel like this topic here is just an indicator of your success and your growth.
Yeah, well, we talk on this episode. Even though we joke around on this podcast, we always talk about serious topics, and I wanted to talk about a topic that is more positive and uplifting, and really shows that there's good people out there and people in your community that care about each other. So, the article that I brought up today is Michael Zollicoffer. He's a doctor in the Baltimore, Maryland community. He's known in the community to help those that really don't have an insurance. He would never turn anybody away. He was not in it for the glory, not in it for the money. He was a very well-known fixture in the community. Well, unfortunately, Dr. Z basically was diagnosed with cancer, two different types of cancer. And his healthcare insurance lapsed. He had complications with Medicare, and basically, the healthcare his insurance for his treatment, they were telling him, "Hey, it's going to be at least $150,000 to get better." This person has cancer. Like, I gotta be honest with you. I think at times of need, you need people to help you, especially if you're not doing as well. And so, what happened? He asked the community, and in fact, the community raised over, I think it was like over 300,000 to help him fight cancer. And I bring this up because I think it's just indicative of people. I think people are good at heart. When it comes to doing a nice gesture, I think there's a lot of people out there that are still good people that are willing to help those in need. And this is the perfect example. And I think as a society, we need to get back to that a little bit more. I think we really need to start thinking of our neighbor in certain perspectives and help them out, and kind of find it a little bit nicer of a tone. As a lawyer, I can tell you it's very hard for me because it's always an argumentative environment. But I do see it a little bit more. But I am trying in my as I'm getting older to be a little bit nicer, help those out a little bit more in need. When I go to a restaurant, instead of leaving $2 on a $100 tab, I give $3 now, because that's just me making a change. But
You doing any pro bono work there, Mike?
Yeah.
I don't do pro bono work.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's what I thought.
But yeah, I think this is a great article because it shows when people are in need, there are people out there that still care, that still want to help. This guy's affected a lot of people's lives, and it goes to show you do a nice deed, people will come and help you out.
Yeah, that's cool. I also think I think we forgot a lot about the power sort of crowdfunding. I don't think it's anything that, needs to be brought up, but in the fact it's community building. You understand that if everyone contributes a small piece to some sort of common goal, when you organize and you get together, the impact is a lot larger, right? With less effort from the individual. So if anything, if this helps people sort of get back to community building and understanding that, there is a lot of power in cooperation, especially rather than conflict or disagreement, regardless of what it is. And if you get together with a community, the amount of resources that you can pull together usually is pretty substantial. I mean, it's pretty cool. I'm glad. This is a really nice story to hear.
Yeah,
I like to see karma actually work out. Like if you're giving that much to the community and the community gives back. I think a lot of times we see people that are selfless and give and give and give, and then the society just screws them over at some point for whatever. And it's not it's not vicious. It just happens, right? But it's good to see somebody put in their work to be a good person and then get repaid on the backside.
Yeah, so at the conclusion of this, I just want to say I'm starting it off positive tonight, and I want to say, Chris, you're a great guy, and Ricardo, you're a great guy as well, and I just wish nothing but the best for both of you.
Look at that! Awesome.
Okay.
So
is that why you started off?
Mike.
Is that why you started off behind the scenes with all the shit talking?
He probably
shit talking.
There's probably
started off just totally dogging on us.
No comment.
That's cool.
No comment
So his insurance couldn't cover him, and the community got together and they were able to cover his bills because he was somebody that helped out people when they needed help too. So he got a really good story. Karma's great. That's a good one, man.
Yep.
Now, something even more positive. You're saying another CEO goes down. So.
Okay, my positivity is now going down.
And
Dude.
last week I talked about Jaguar CEO stepping down after a horrific quarter of their car sales regarding their marketing plan and their rebranding of their car company. Well, this week, in the complete opposite news, the CEO of Target is stepping down, but it's in the complete opposite form. He's stepping down because he got tremendous backlash and people were boycotting Targets and buying inventory and buying products because he decided to scale back the diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. And this was in response to Trump basically telling companies to scale it back. And what happened? Boycotts happened all over the country. But I don't know if really the boycotts had really an impact on it, to be honest with you. I think it's consumer habits. I think consumers are buying less products. I realize consumers, you go to Target because it's cost effective, but the reality of the
Ish.
situation is a lot of it
You
cost
go there because
effective.
there's hot girls shopping.
I've never done that before. I've never done that before. Chris, please, you're going to have to enlighten me on
In
your
San Diego,
experiences.
man, hot girls at Target. It's a thing.
Yeah. But I also think
Never
it's
been to
more
Target.
because I think it's because more people have less income. They're being cautious on what they spend money on, and I think that's really a motivating factor. There's a lot of people that are saying that they reduced kind of some of their themes in the stores, which had to do with the LGBTQT plus theme, like for example, merchandising, marketing campaigns, etc. I think personally, it might be because of people's spending habits. I think less people are spending money in certain areas. I don't really think it's the protests that are having that big of an impact. The guy he's been the CEO, if I remember correctly, for 14 years. And realistically, this year, sales have, the Target's overall net income dropped 21%. So, I don't know. What's your thought? Do you really think it's the protests or the boycotting by consumers that are bringing down their income, or do you think it's realistically people just in general not having the money to spend, and they're just being a little bit more cautious with their habits of buying items?
You want me to
Go ahead, Chris. Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, so if you're having boycotts because of DEI, right, that means that there's a certain type of people buying your product. And if those people aren't spending money in the brick and mortar sort of style, I mean, I think it's because they're kind of afraid of what's happening politically, honestly. I think it seems to be, and obviously I don't know this, I've never looked at the stats, but based on what we're seeing, a lot of people that shop at Target are not really Trump supporters. And so if they're kind of afraid of what's happening with, the White House, they're going to spend less money. That's just how it works. If you're afraid of the economy because of you think the guy running it's a train wreck, you're going to spend less money, right? So, and if your customer base doesn't like Trump, then they're going to spend less money. And then, of course, the brick and mortar thing in general is just going down. Ricardo and I talked about this all the time. I mean, if the brick and mortar, in order for the brick and mortar sort of thing to succeed, or at least to have some success in the future, it's got to be some sort of entertainment. We said that DJs in like the malls and stuff, if you don't have like a concert going on or something,
Yeah.
like why show up, right? I can just go on Amazon and buy it or whatever. Like, you gotta have
Mm-hmm.
something going on. So I think it's multiple variables.
Yeah, I think there's a lot. I agree with both you guys. I'm not sure, how much scaling back a DEI employment program would cause a consumer backlash. I can't really tie those two together. I'd have to do a little bit more research. What I do know is that, with inflation and with the things that happened, one of the things that's really rising that a lot of people haven't been talking about is consumer credit. And so the consumer credit bubble is actually increasing. So a lot of people that were using credit cards to get by, and some who are using credit cards to help, cover the cost of inflation, like are reaching kind of their limit, and I just looked this up and it says, the total household debt has increased by 4.6 trillion since 2019 for the US. So like that's
Insane.
that's an insane number. And so I think there's a lot of people that are just kind of leveraged, and then they're kind of like, hey man, I would love to buy the latest thing at Target, but like I don't need it and I can't put anything else on my credit card.
Makes
Very
sense.
good point. Very good point. Yeah. So more of the stories. I'm gonna try to help Targets out this weekend. I'm gonna go by
Hey,
there
Shafi.
Red
and
Solo Cup.
buy red Solo cups. I'm gonna buy several things and spend a total of $7.
You can't buy a good golf game there, FYI. So,
Wow, we went there, huh? Okay, I'm remember
Jesus.
that.
so the other
Well,
thing
Shots
too.
fired.
So the other thing too is like with California, and they when they like Target was supposed to put in a shop downtown San Diego, and they canceled it because of all the law changes.
Yeah.
Because like they changed the threshold for felony theft. So like everything, what is it, $100 now is a misdemeanor, $1,000? It's some number. I don't remember
Well,
what it
they've
is.
changed it in certain communities.
Well, in
They've come down
California
on
they
that now.
changed it, so now you can basically steal armloads of stuff, and then it's a misdemeanor.
Well,
So cops aren't really doing anything about it.
well, now California in certain counties they've changed it back to
they
under a
have,
certain
Good.
number. So it used to be
Good.
$1,000.
Yeah,
Now
I
it's
think it's
500.
back. Yeah, they brought it back to the municipals, right? They let them
Yeah.
decide.
Yep. Yeah.
That's
Well,
good.
just getting. Even though this was a negative story, I want to go back to my positivity and say, Chris and Ricardo, you are great guys. Okay.
Cool.
Just because you talk all this shit at the beginning doesn't mean you can offset it by saying nice things that you
I
don't
know
Chris-
mean.
he's
Chris,
giving to
I'm
get.
gonna.
He's giving to
I'm,
get.
I'm forgiving you for that comment, and I will let it go because you are a great guy.
You ever
Yeah,
had that
he's-
thing where they're like, "Hey, I want you to apologize," and then you're like, "I'm sorry," and like, I want you to say it and mean it. Like you're not saying it and meaning it. You know?
Yeah, we don't believe you.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. Let's go to the next topic.
Absolutely. So this is cool. I'm glad this topic got brought up because I did see this too, Chris. And I was like, what the fuck? And I read into it a little bit. Then I saw it was like your topic, and I was like, cool. So I'll like wait for him to talk about this. But this is insane, apparently, right? Tell the folks what you brought up.
Yeah. So this Chinese robotics company is developing a robot that can bring babies to term. Apparently, right now it's more like it's a practice. It's not hasn't really come full circle. They haven't actually done a real live birth or whatever. But it's so I was reading some stuff about it. One of the things that the CEO mentioned is that surrogacy is illegal in China.
It's
So this
illegal.
this is a way he thinks that they can get around the surrogate problem because like there's no surrogates in China, right? It's illegal because they have a infertility issue. 18% of the population is infertile. 5.6 out of every 5.6 couples has problems having children.
Damn.
And so they have all kinds of problems. And so the CEO thinks that this could be a way to get around the surrogacy issue by using a robot to carry your children to term, which I think is, I mean, just think about where we were when we were kids, guys. Like, I mean, what? Nintendo came out in 1983 or whatever, 84. You know, like Atari was a big deal. And like, you couldn't do anything unless you remember when you had to if you wanted to record a movie, you had to have two VHSs. You remember that?
And you had to press the record button.
Yeah, tape
Yeah.
to tape. Yeah,
And then you had like, remember when you had a Walkman that didn't have rewind, so you had to just flip the tape over and hit fast forward. Remember that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're talking about a robot that might be able to carry a child in the womb for 10 months. Like it's
That's scary. I don't care
Wild.
what it is. That
I mean,
is
can you
scary.
imagine when they have like it was so weird because I was watching this thing on there's always these little pop-ups on AI, and like I was watching this one where these guys are like literally like marrying, like not just dolls but like actual AI, like what do you call it, avatars, and it's like it's interesting, like it's interesting to see how these people are are getting attached to these things. But can you imagine? Like combining one of these like sex dolls with like a fully functioning womb, and like that's really 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 scary. How many people are really going to choose to decide it's like, hey, look, I have everything I need and I can have a kid. Like that kind of terrifies me.
This is the Blade Runner with Harrison Ford, and this is really what people are. This is just incredibly scary. I don't know if this is a good thing for society, just in general. I don't think this would come to the U.S. There's so many regulatory,
oh my god,
requirements or whatever happen. But in all honesty, I just want to go back and say, Chris and Ricardo, you are great guys.
dude, this will come out in L.A. in a heartbeat. You know how many girls that don't want to get fat after having kids
Yeah.
that would
Oh,
totally
that's a very good
outsource-
point.
solely-
No, it's not just
totally
L.A.
outsource- totally
Not just
outsource that
LA.
shit to a robot. Oh, I don't have to actually give birth. I can just outsource that to a robot. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Very good
So
point.
many girls would sign
Very
up for
good
that.
point.
So
You
many.
know, I
girls.
didn't
And
even
I'm not
think of
judging.
that.
Look, I'm not judging. I mean, I get it.
Sound
I'm
pretty
just saying.
judgy to me.
No, I mean,
Well,
like,
I mean, like
totally.
I definitely had like we had a company that I worked for was owned by a husband and wife, couple. They were a lawyer, and she had a kid already, and she's like, I want another one, but I don't want to carry it. And I was like, that's the first time I had heard of that. And she was talking about surrogates, and just like, yeah, you pay a surrogate, and then and I was like, wow, I didn't know that people actually really did that. But to do it with a robot, yeah.
Well, especially now with because women are basically not settling down until later in life, and it's pregnancies in your 30s are higher risk, and obviously in your 40s it's like much higher risk. So like, I mean, if you want to actually do the whole CEO route or whatever,
Yeah.
and then try to have kids
Freeze
in your
your
40s,
eggs.
you
Yeah,
could
freeze your-
totally have
You
a
still
robot
gotta,
do it.
you still gotta find a man, ladies.
Well,
Well,
You gotta find a man.
No, you don't have to.
freeze your eggs. Yeah, just get a donor.
Freeze your eggs
yeah.
and get a donor.
And then
You
use
better
a robot
pay me a lot of
womb.
money because I got unvaxxed.
Get a chia
sperm.
kid, like a little chia kid.
Honestly, Mike, you might want to start donating some of that unvaxxed sperm.
I'm thinking about it. I can make it
Dude,
killing.
if robots are giving birth to kids, your sperm is going to be high quality H2O.
Yep.
See, it's positivity day. Thank you
Look,
so
man,
much.
I'm just trying to figure out
Thanks
how you
for the
make more money.
positivity.
I'm trying to get you to make more money, Mike.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that, so I can recycle that money into the podcast.
Yeah, I want to cut 10% or something.
No,
I knew
don't
it.
do
I knew it.
So yeah,
I'll
I
put
mean,
you as my
so do you
business
guys
manager.
think this whole thing is going to disrupt, the traditional sort of mating thing? I mean, do you think that there's going, is it going to get weird when more men spend less time with real women? You know what I mean? Like, is that going to cause some sort of weird imbalance? Are we going to start
think
seeing a lot of
that's-
single women out there, or
I think that's already happening because there's issues with relationships and children. There's been a decline in
Yeah.
childbirths. I think that's happening. It's already occurring now. When you're rolling out other alternatives, you definitely see an additional decline to it, and it's kind of a scary thing to think about. I think there's too many distractions in the world. I think there's a difference in mindset between peoples that play a part of this. I think we really have to get back to the old ways, and that will help. But I definitely think if this comes out and it rolls out in a mass quantity all over the world, you definitely will see an uptick in that more and more.
Yeah, I mean, children with only one parent, regardless male or female, it's not really good for them. So,
I agree.
a ton of children raised by only one parent is just not really good.
agree? Yeah, it wouldn't be
So
good.
let me
for
ask you. Let me ask you a question, both of you. So how many children do you think you have out there that you don't know about?
35.
Oh, Chris, stop! Don't say 0.
A rowing
dude,
team.
I'm an Eagle Scout, man. I'm so responsible. I don't do that shit.
don't have
Yeah.
any kids.
Okay, Ricardo, I believe that.
I don't think any of us have kids. I think we'd know about it by now. They'd be
Yeah, I
like,
think somebody
"Yo."
would have came knocking at my door.
Yeah, my kids would want to meet me before I die. They're like, he's getting old. Let's go hang out. Let's go see what's going on. We got to introduce ourselves. We might as well do it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So what's going on in New York? How come people are getting shot at
Yeah, what's up?
at a
That's
nightclub?
two in like 6 months, right?
Yeah, what's going on here in the nightlife?
This one was gang related. But still,
Sure.
I mean, I don't know enough about New York to know if we were anywhere near this shooting.
Where was
but
it? What club?
I don't remember the name of the club. I thought you would know more about it, man.
Well,
You don't
tell
know
me the
about these
damn
things?
Nightclub, and I'll tell you where it
Tao?
was located.
Was it
No,
Tao?
I wish it. No, it wasn't Tao. That'd be terrible.
No.
Fried
well,
rice
even
is
though across
gone.
the street from Tao, there's behind Tao, like next to Tao, is Budokan, which we went into briefly. Behind there, that's a
Right.
project building.
It was in Brooklyn. City Lounge.
man.
Taste of
Man,
City
it's
Lounge.
Brooklyn. Oh, it's
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. Come on now.
I
There's
don't know,
a
man. I
bunch
don't know
of-
enough
Brooklyn's
about
got
New
a
York.
bunch of really
So
bad,
do you feel like
areas.
it's getting more violent out there, Mike? Is that something that you
Everybody
sense?
that I talk to, if you read the news and everybody says it's getting better in New York, it's such a fallacy. Any businesses that talk about the uptick in business is lying to you. Every business owner I talk to says they're their revenue has been down since COVID. Crime has been up. I don't care what anybody says. They're not prosecuting crime the same way.
Yeah,
You're
it's not
seeing,
reported. That's the problem.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I remember being in the city not too long ago and watching a woman get punched in the face, and just the
Jeez.
guy just walking down the street, and then two people ran after them, and that individual and that guy just took off. So look, this is New York's always had a violence problem. They've always had, and I mean, not just like fights. I'm talking about like murder, homicide. I'm talking about stabbings. Those have always been around. I think the media is doing a really good job right now hiding a lot of that. But some of these situations are a little too publicized that they can't hide it. So, is the violence getting better in New York? In my opinion, no. Have I seen a lot more violence? Yes. It's unusual for nightclubs though, because
Right.
nobeclubs usually are an
Security's pretty
environment
high.
where the
Yeah, yeah.
security is pretty high, especially in certain locations. You don't see the violence there. Obviously, you typically have like a fight in a nightclub. That's common,
Yeah.
but you don't have shootings at a nightclub. But yeah, this is Brooklyn though, also for you. So Brooklyn, depending on the area you're in, it's pretty bad. They do have nightclubs in some pretty ridiculously high crime areas. So
Yeah.
I'm not surprised, especially with the shooting at a nightclub in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I didn't really feel particularly unsafe when we were there, but I don't think we really like bit straight off the beaten path very much.
Dude,
So
you're 6'4", okay, Marine. Who is coming up to
Yeah.
you and bothering you? You're
Right.
not like the
Well,
one miss. Yeah, this is also the
Plus,
problem.
we went
The
to
one
nice places though. Like we were like
Yeah.
Electric
Yeah.
Lemon. Electric Lemon is like you got to
We were
go
in
through
nice
like
areas
3
where you don't really
security
have to
to
worry
get
about
in
anything.
there.
yeah, that's the same. We didn't really stray off the beaten path very much. I've gotten off the train in like Jamaica, Queens, and not felt very comfortable before.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
Jamaica Queens, certain areas,
yeah,
Jamaica Queens is pretty bad. But
yeah,
also, one thing you got to remember is a lot of the violence does happen to smaller women, smaller men, women. You're getting violence. You're looking at some of these robberies, and it's the elderly. You're looking at some of these heinous crimes, which people are getting punched. They're older men of a particular type in certain areas. And one thing that also is a huge problem in New York right now is mental health. You got a lot of
Yeah.
homeless and mental
right,
health issues,
yeah.
and they are just acting out and repeat offenders. When you don't enforce the laws in New York, they come back on the street and they do things. So you definitely have violence, you definitely have crime, but this is a unusual aspect to be in a
Did
club.
Did you guys see that study about the prisoners? They like basically went to the prison and like showed them a bunch of videos of people and had the prisoners point out all the people that they would
Yeah,
like rob.
I know
And
this.
they basically
It's
they basically said that it was
their
based
gait.
on your gait. Like if your gait
Like
was
your
like
gait.
confident, basically, then you weren't seen by criminals as someone that they could take
Right.
advantage of.
When you say gate, what do you mean?
Like
Well, they
how
said
you,
that
how you walk,
how you
like how you
walk.
walk, yeah, how you move.
Basically, if you
Oh.
had a confident stride, like a confident step, like you weren't walking too quickly, like you're in a rush, but you weren't like sort of like walking around lost, and you just looked like you were, knew what you're doing, where
Oh,
you're
I'm
going.
gonna try that.
Then the prisoners, these are all prisoners like of violent crimes,
I'm gonna test
all
it.
all
I'm
like
gonna
would not
test it.
identify those people as someone that they would think they could take advantage of.
I'm gonna test it. I'm gonna walk slow and look up at the buildings. Like, where
Mike,
am I?
don't-
Which street?
Don't bring that shit down on yourself, man. That's
This guy.
don't
No,
tempt-
because
don't
I'm gonna be
tempt fate.
walking. I'm gonna do that when I'm with my 6'4" Marine friend, and see what happens.
And you're
Because all that
robotic.
sarcastic anti-karma that you're spitting out, man.
Yeah, you better start calling us cool again.
Hey, you both are great guys. I want you to know that.
There you go. After you just talk mad shit. Yeah, I mean, like,
yeah.
I agree. That was a crazy thing. Like, but yeah, gate, and and New York has always had a problem. But I'm surprised to hear about this in a club. Usually, the security is pretty good
Yeah.
in the nightclubs. But yeah, I mean, I assumed what Mike said was true. I mean, like, it doesn't seem like a lot of the cities are improving too much. Some of them are better, but like something like New York and Los Angeles, like in San Francisco, those cities are going to take a really long time, I think, to rebound.
It's 10 million people, man.
Yeah,
It's so
like each one.
Well,
of them.
crazy.
You also so there's a real problem with a lot of the major cities. It's giving control back to cops to be cops, but there's a
Right.
fine line where cops don't go over that line, And right now, it's like New York, the cops are really hands off. But if you saw the situation in New York where there was that shooting, and all those cops were there, and everybody was like praising cops for going into the building, doing all this, you can't have it both ways. Like, you either give freedom, you allow them to operate, and you let them do their job, or you do what they're doing right now, where it's like, okay, you know, let it go. And that you got to find a happy balance.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, right now, New York and a lot of the major cities don't have that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the solution to defund is kind of problematic in my mind. I mean, look, you have 100 Starbucks employees. There's going to be a couple shitty Starbucks employees. You have 100 cops. There's going to be shitty cops. So maybe like increase your vetting process, not decrease the number of people, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
defund never doesn't make any sense logically.
So go ahead, Ricardo. I'm sorry.
No, I mean it just doesn't make any sense. Like that's like defund the government, and then like all the roads breaking. They're like, hey, who's gonna fix the roads?
Yeah,
and like fund the roads.
Yeah.
Like and we're back where we started.
I think the cops' biggest problem right now is there has to be better de-escalation training in certain situations. I think that's contributed to a lot of the problems and the distrust with the police officers. I think there has to be a little bit higher qualifications for cops. But also, every time a cop does something, everybody's suing them. And there has to be a higher bar for those suits to occur. As an attorney, I definitely tell you there's way too many lawsuits in a system where, a cop, they allege, does something and you have to litigate that through and through. It's a crazy time for cops, like just in general. Cops put themselves in the line of fire. They have to deal with some of the worst situations in society, so I give them a little bit of a break in that. But then you have cops that are just such bad apples. You have cops that are such bad apples.
They need to go on a like PR campaign, like police. Just a positive PR campaign, like kind of bring back the society's like belief in the culture. I mean, the Marine Corps has been basically acknowledging that for a long time that there's nothing that the other branches can't do that we do other than the fact that we're the Marines. And so, the saying is always like, as soon as we lose public opinion, the Marine Corps is going to get defunded. Mm-hmm. And so that's why you see so many Marine Corps like campaigns on
I'm not gonna
TV.
lie. I'm not gonna lie. You got the best commercials. That's
why, because like we literally need public opinion on our side, because the Air Force can do what we do, the Army can do what we, obviously not as well, we do it better, but like their budgets are triple our budgets, right?
Yeah.
And so I think the police need to sit down and they need to have a PR campaign where they bring back sort of the old school, like kind of what we used to think of as cops when we were kids. Like we respected the police when we were younger. Yeah. Obviously less so now, and some of it's rightfully so. Some of it might be not so much, but you need to go on like a hardcore PR campaign to bring back the public opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Ricardo's free.
For the no, you can't afford me. No. Oh man, so wanted to move on to this the digital minds thing. So this is kind of interesting, and like just keep going with a little bit of the AI stuff that I've been sort of following up on. And one of the things is the article that I posted was really just about a lot of people who have been calculating sort of once we reach AGI, or once we have at least some sort of system that's cognitive enough to be making decisions, like and infer things, right? Like, and they're saying that this is definitely going to happen by 2100, with probably by 2030, is where we're going to have actual sort of like, if you have an assistant, and this assistant is doing things for you, it's a digital assistant, and that thing is becomes independent, right? Like what are going to be the legalities? Like because a lot of these agents are going to be acting on behalf of people, right? And they're going to be fully conscious minds. They're going to be able to do things. And so like, what are the legalities, and how are we would we sort of incorporate these types of things into society, specifically from a rights point of view? And so the article was discussing as far as like rights, legality, and then liability, as some of the things that are going to be going on in our society are going to not be supervised and touched by humans.
Well, this is...
Go for it,
Chris.
I was going to say, you need an AI lawyer to write up your power of attorney. That's a fluid document that the AI just constantly changes your power of attorney as they
All
realize
right,
as they
all
go.
right, all right. No. This is actually a major issue right now. Tesla has been sued on several occasions. Well, is there autonomous driving? Is that a product issue? Okay, how is the liability fall down on that? Is Tesla responsible for it, or is the driver responsible for not paying attention to the vehicles in front of them while its autonomous features in play? I think there's going to be some argument that it is a product, but the court system hasn't determined that. So let's say, for example, you have a AI assistant, right? That AI assistant is working under you. Any job you have oversight on that individual, you should be looking at what they're doing, what their responsibilities are. So there might be liability that might fall back onto you for the decisions that AI assistant is making. But at the same time, it also could be a products issue, meaning whoever developed the software in that AI assistant, that's determining to make those decisions, they can have liability as well because it's an
Right.
algorithm.
That's kind of what I was asking. So, like, say, Google develops a digital mind, and that mind is conscious, it's independent, it's able, not conscious, but, it's able to, make decisions on its own and infer. It goes about its life, right? And it does some fucked up shit. Like, is Google now going to be the one that's liable for, or, how would we treat that type of situation?
So it depends. So if it's in a work capacity or something like that, I would think it could potentially fall on its employer. But in a personal capacity, let's say an AI robot or whatever, and it does something, it almost surely will be Google's problem because it's a Google product. It's a Google software. The same way, think about it, if your computer gets hacked or something and it's Google's security system that's supposed to protect your information, Google's the one that's responsible for that.
So
So
ultimately, the proprietor or the creator of the actual software that created the mind itself is going to be responsible for the actions of that mind.
yeah, so in most 99% of the I don't want to say 90%, 50% of
For
it
now,
probably will
yeah.
be.
I
For
feel
now,
like if you wanted to do, I feel like if Google wanted to avoid that, you just make it open source and put it out there, and whatever people do with it.
but once you put that Google
That's what I'm saying. If
slap
they
on it with
profit
that
from it,
brand,
if Google profits from it, that's different. But if Google just makes it open source and you do,
yeah, I think it's ultimately going to come down to the courts because there are
Yeah.
cases going on right now about that. The courts will determine that if it is a product or is it human error because that's key right now. I know in Tesla, there's a couple of cases with Tesla going on right now. They're
yeah.
trying to determine that factor right now, but you will see it in other areas of society where these things will come to fruition.
Fucking Katie this weekend, she told me that one of her Marine friends has a hard time staying awake when he's driving because he doesn't get enough sleep. So he literally just uses his uh, whatever lane assist and like thing.
Hmm.
He just goes to sleep in his car and lets lane assist drive.
Wow.
Oh, dude, I'm not gonna lie.
I was
In
like,
my vehicle,
That's
there
awful.
is a self-driving feature that I do have. It is the best thing alive when nobody's on the road. I just have to keep my hand on the steering wheel. Obviously, I pay attention when the car is driving,
Sure,
but
sure.
when you put it on, it is pretty accurate with staying in lanes, maintaining its speed, the sensors dictating who's around you. It is pretty accurate. I don't think it's perfected. I definitely think we're several years away from like better lidar technology being able to perfect certain movements in a millisecond. But it is pretty good. But tell
yeah.
me, tell me that friend, so I don't stay anywhere near him.
Well, so that's
Yeah.
the thing. I feel like that's always kind of the issue right now. We're kind of in the middle, I think, where
Right.
automation is getting really good, but it's not really, really, really good. And so people are sort of kind of taking advantage of it and relying a little bit too heavily on it. And I think to me personally, I think it should be all automation or no automation. So like either you don't have any control of the car at all, or you have zero automation. Because like
Yeah.
in the middle is where I feel like is where the danger kind of lies. Oh, I forgot to
Well,
hit the button, and so I crashed. You know what I mean? Like sort of thing.
yeah. Well, I think human error also is a major
Right.
part of this. So the, the problem is you hit it on the head. We're in the beginning stages of it.
Yeah.
All these things are relative, like autonomous driving. cars driving itself. We literally just released the first like taxi, like what is it? The Tesla like robo taxi
Yep.
in Austin. California has Waymo. So these are all new systems of transportation that we're still ironing the details out.
Why is it always I think the liberal places that have like that kind of stuff? Like
I
that,
don't
like
know.
we assume that liberals can't drive or something. Is that why we can't?
No, I mean probably just because they cut or they cut partnerships. Who knows? Yeah, maybe more open governments.
You actually hit it right on the head. Liberal cities are a lot more friendly to some of these partnerships, especially when it comes to the tech industries. Because if you look at where it happened, Austin, Texas is a huge.
It's like
liberal,
a gigantic blue dot in a big red sea.
Yeah, and the tech companies have relationships with the cities, and quite honestly, it's the same thing with San Francisco and LA. San Francisco majority.
San Francisco was super open,
right.
Uber, and
right, because like even we had the car to go, like they had to cut a deal with the city. So like eventually, like as a company, you got to get in front of the city and cut a deal with them, a financial deal. And some of the red states, I think, would probably be a little bit more conservative because, like, what if your tech fucks my city up, right? Like, look at scooters. Like, scooters were cool, and now then they became a big trash pile or whatever, right? So, like, what if your tech fucks up my
Pretty
city?
much,
so, more conservative. I think governments would kind of keep those deals a little bit lower.
Yeah, a lot of Republican states they want to stay the same way it's been for 200 years. They don't want to change if it's working, and
that's true. That is true.
What did I miss?
My last topic is boring, so we really don't have to talk about it.
It's boring. Why is it boring? It can't be anything more boring than everything Mike does.
No, I'm just kidding. So this is kind of
interesting. You're a nice guy.
You guys are nice guys. This is
supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Is that what it says?
Yep. Basically, there's been some consolidation in the podcast industry, and Mike, you're the one that kind of turned me on to this. About your buddy who kind of manages like all these podcasts, and I didn't realize that there exists sort of like content networks that sort of collect all these different sort of shows, like podcasts, all for different topics, and then they leverage all the shows at once, to create sort of like a profit or like a advertising chain or whatever it is they do, or subscription base. And two of the largest ones that have been doing this, Sounds Profitable and Podcast Movement, have merged, and I think they're now controlling over 600 podcasts and topics globally, wherever we listen to them. And so we're seeing sort of a consolidation here in the podcast industry. Obviously, there's the big players that everybody kind of knows about, but there's this side industry that I didn't really know about with podcasting going on, where it's really topic related, and it's almost become sort of another form of like TV or whatever. Like instead of like watching a show or a video, I'll listen to a podcast about a specific topic that I'm interested in. So I think this is it's interesting because it happened in all the other medias, with radio and cable and all that stuff. And now it's beginning to happen with podcasting. So it's one to keep an eye on that. Anytime there's a consolidation in the industry, it usually means some changes are coming. And two, it's interesting to see that we have now, I think through COVID, established podcasting sort of as a medium for getting information, the long form talk as getting information. And I think that's really interesting thing because that was all self-pioneered. No company, I think, was like, the first to podcast. It was, like Rogan and these guys that were just kind of using these platforms to create content. So that's an interesting thing. What do you guys think about, what's going on? You guys are all podcasters like us. And so we're in the industry. What do you guys think about sort of the future of podcasting and how it might look, in 3 or 4 years?
I have to go back. I can't find in my notes really quickly, but we talked about this, I don't know, 6 months ago, where I was looking at the most popular podcasts in Indianapolis, and there was that one that's part of like a consortium, like a group of podcasts. I forget the name of it, and there was like 100 podcasts on this one under this one umbrella consortium, and one of them was like a true crime podcast that's like part of this big consortium of other podcasts. And so I was like, oh, well, that's not really fair. They have like a whole marketing team that's like basically helping them gain subscribers. But I'm not surprised. I mean, honestly, it is interesting to see sort of a merger like that. That's like 600 podcasts. That's kind of crazy. I wonder, do you know how much money was involved? I have to look it up, but
I think I have it here. Sorry, hold on a second. I have it here. It is There's nothing about the deal itself. Engaging the platform, highlighting evolving ecosystems.
Because we're kind of trying to do the same thing, but all on our own, like with our own spin-offs. We're not trying to have spin-offs that are like other people manage their podcasts that we like. That join us.
Yes. So one of the things that a lot of like podcasts companies do is they rent out their space. So they have studios within a building. They rent out the space. They do all the marketing. They do all the promotion for the podcasts. But they own the content. So anything that comes through the door, the
like
revenue,
a record
the first
label.
one. Exactly.
Basically,
it's exactly like that. Cool. And what one of my buddies did is, he runs, it's 30 or 40 podcasts with his company. And what he did was, because of the content, he was able to negotiate several TV shows through those podcasts. Okay,
cool.
He's able to take the ideas, and I can't remember the networks that they're on. But now what he's doing is he's also expanding in the U.S. because it's become so popular. He does it in Australia. It became so popular over there that he's now doing it in the United States, and he's branching off. I think the podcast industry right now is being very saturated. I think a lot of these companies are trying to consolidate certain topics, the most popular ones, and it's content-driven on certain topics. The issue I see going forward with podcasts is now we're going to start, competing against the conglomerates like what's happening here.
Yeah.
And we just don't have the funds for the promotions. And Chris, you bring this all the time. We're not celebrities, so we're not going to have the instant attraction, to everybody. So what we have to do is we have to find the differentiators, and that's what we're trying to do. And it's harder for us, and to build an audience over time, and it's a little bit more challenging. But the one thing I find interesting is, and this brings back Fox News. So you have all of these, anchors and hosts that left Fox News and they started their podcast, like Megyn Kelly, Bill O'Reilly, and a couple other individuals. But what you find out is they're actually owned by a subsidiary through, if I remember correctly, I might be misspeaking, but I think it's through the owners of the Murdoch family of Fox News. So they have the same management company or whatever. Yeah. So it's through another subsidiary of a subsidiary, and you don't even realize it because you're getting that funding from them. So it's interesting. You got to be careful, but I definitely think the podcast, you're going to see a lot more consolidation in areas. Brian, if you write another stupid thing, I'm going to come there.
No, it says it's a breath of fresh air. He's dude, the man, the myth, the legend.
No, he said meth or Amish.
Well, the next comment said, but it's a breath of fresh air.
Oh.
Compared to all the scripted bullshit.
I'm gonna go back on my positive. Chris and Ricardo, you're great guys. Brian, thank you for the nice comment. I apologize.
Oh, so I found it right away. It was Crime Junkie. They're under the Audio Chuck Media umbrella.
They're
Audio
huge.
Chuck LLC, which is this big award-winning media company or whatever. They have like a ton of podcasts. Most of them are all true crime. But yeah, we're under our own umbrella. Almost Patriots is our umbrella, bitches.
We're doing it. Yeah, exactly.
Almost
Independent
Patriots.
label.
Yeah.
Independent label.
Yeah. Independent.
We're not going to sell out.
And we're
that's a lot of money.
Unless you want to give us a big paycheck.
That's a lot of money, man.
We will, yeah, exactly. All right, guys. That was a pretty good episode. Good to see you guys as usual. We'll be back next week at our normal time, I think. Chris, Mike?
I'm not traveling for like a while, so.
Cool. Yeah, next week will be Thursdays at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. And you guys doing your show next week at all, or the?
Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm going to be available.
Yeah, sure. I'll be available.
So almost
we got to talk
athletes?
about Sophie. Sophie is her.
Oh man,
my wife. My wife.
Jesus.
She doesn't know it yet.
Watch these fools talk about sports on Almost Athletes, guys, and subscribe, and hit the notification button on YouTube to get notifications of when we go live and when new episodes are out. And thanks for joining us as usual, my man Elvis in Indianapolis.
Damn you, Brian!
Is Basic opened again?
What did
they reopened?
What did he say?
No Basic Pizza for Mike. Remember how Brian bought you pizza that one time, Ricardo?
Yeah, Brian brought me pizza. Yeah. He's the man. Yeah. He's the number one fan here. Him and Turbo are the number one fans.
Yeah, and Mike's mom. Yeah.
Absolutely, but yeah, no pizza for Mike, guys. But yeah, catch us next week. And as always, Elvis in Indianapolis, Mike in New York, and myself in San Diego. Almost Patriots podcast. You guys will see you next week. Thanks for staying.
Everybody
locked
have
in.
a great one and be safe and healthy.
You guys are great guys.